Year 4 and welcome to Monday's writing lesson. This week we're going to be looking at poetry.
In your reading lessons last week with Mrs. Evans and Mrs. Price, you learnt how to perform someone else's poem. This week we are going to write our own poem and perform it ourselves on Friday. So some of our key vocabulary for today's lesson is a poem. We're going to read a poem all together to have a little look at the structure and what the poem's about. And we've also got noun and adjective in our key vocabulary box today. We're going to read this poem called Down the River and use this as a structure to help us write our poem this week. I'm going to read the poem to you now. You can follow along by following the words on the screen. If you'd like to join in with me, please do. Down the river. I got in my boat and went down the river, the full flowing river, the river that goes through the jungle. I paddled my boat down the river, the waving, winding river, the river that goes through the jungle. I saw lots of wonders in that river, golden plants and golden flowers, a dead croc with a sword in it, a square box of diamonds, a starfish bigger than me, a diver looking for treasure, a machine gun and a water pistol, a big golden teapot. All these were in the river, and on the river was a ladder floating, a red, pink and orange rock, another much bigger boat, half sticking out of the water, a swimming costume that fitted, a skipping rope I sprayed till it shone with gold, a sign saying, "Danger, waterfall." I stuck to my boat in the river, then up and down river, the flooding, floating river. I saw dangers around the river, a house that was alive and was trying to catch me, a dead bird falling down, black bumblebees flying and landing on a shop boy, a tail moving and a glimpse of eyes. I kept on paddling down the river, the full-flowing river, the waving, winding river. I saw an enormous diamond in the river, pink, green, orange and blue, colours changing in the sun. I stopped my boat by it. It was smooth and felt like china. I didn't want to climb on it, but some of the diamond fell off, and I brought it home. Home in my boat, down the river, the up and down river, the river that goes through the jungle. And the name of the poet who wrote this poem is Matthew Sweeney. So that was our Down the River poem that we're going to use to help us write our own poem this week. Now, as we were reading it, you may have noticed that there was lots of nouns. Can you remember what a noun is? Can you remember the action for a noun? Pause the video now and have a quick think. That's right, well done Year 4. We've done lots of work on nouns. A noun is a person, place or thing. And the action for a noun is to touch your head. Can you all do that now? Put your hands on your head and shout, noun. Ready? One more time, hands on your head and shout noun. Noun. So now we all know what a noun is and what the action is. I'm going to read this verse to you. And when you hear a noun, I want you to jump up and do the action sign for a noun. So put your hands on your head. So you're going to have to be listening really carefully and getting ready to jump up and do the action sign for a noun once you hear one. Then sit back down and carry on listening for the next noun. I saw lots of wonders in that river, golden plants and golden flowers, a dead croc with a sword in it, a square box of diamonds, a starfish bigger than me, a diver looking for treasure, a machine gun and a water pistol, a big golden teapot. What nouns did you hear in that verse, Year 4? Let's go on to the next page to check together. So, here's our check. Did you manage to find all these nouns? Let's read through it together. I saw lots of wonders. Now, wonders is a noun in this instance, as it's talking about wonders as in lots of things. If you were wondering about something, that would be a verb, but here it's a noun. River, that's a noun. Plants, flowers, croc, sword, the box of diamonds, a starfish, diver, treasure, a machine gun, a water pistol and a teapot. They are all nouns. So those of you that have been reading really carefully may have also noticed that in this verse there's some words that describe the nouns. Can anyone remember what those words are called? That's right, it's an adjective. An adjective is a word that describes the noun. Who can remember the action that we do for adjectives? That's it, well done. Shake your arms and wave your fingers to the side. Okay, so pause the video now, read through this verse again and see if you can spot any of the adjectives yourself and do your action as you are reading. Here are the adjectives that you might have found as you were reading through that verse. We've got golden, which describes the plants and the flowers, dead, which describes the crock, square, which describes the box, and a big golden teapot. Here we've got two adjectives together. Can anyone remember what that's called? That's right, well done. It's an expanded noun phrase. Well done, Year 4.
So, to know about what nouns and adjectives we could include in our poem that we're going to write this week, we need to go on a journey down the river. So, you need to grab your boat again and let's set sail. So, I'm on the Amazon River in South America. It's very hot and humid here. What river are you travelling down? Could be any river in the world, anywhere you like. As you sail down your river, look carefully around you on the riverbanks. What can you see? I can see a bird. Wow, it's flying in the trees. If I look closely, it looks like a parrot. It's really colourful. It's a very majestic bird. And there's a palm tree towering over me. Oh, and in that tree, there's a monkey swinging through the trees. Looks very mischievous and playful. I can see a frog on that riverbank. It looks lovely and blue and bright and spotted. And over there's a beautiful flower. It looks like an orchid. It's very delicate.
So now we've had a think about some of the things you might see around your river. We are going to start our plan and write down some of these things that we have seen. What I want you to do first is get a pencil or a pen and a piece of paper. And down the middle of the piece of paper, I want you to draw a river outline, just like the one you can see on the screen here. You can draw a squiggly river like this, or just a straight one down the middle of your page. If you have different colour pens or pencils, I want you to choose one of those colours now. In this colour, I want you to write down 5 things that you saw around your river. So that's 5 nouns. I saw a parrot and an orchid, for example. So I'd write those around the side of my river. Remember, the river that I was travelling down was the Amazon, which is in the middle of a jungle. So it was quite tropical and luscious things that I was seeing. Your river could be anywhere in the world. It could be one of our local rivers that we have in Worcestershire. Or it could be a river in a colder part of the world. Or even a river in another continent, like Africa. So you may have spotted different things around your river than I did, which is absolutely fine. Just write down the things that you saw around your river. When you've written your 5 nouns of things you can see around the river, see if you can add an adjective or even an expanded noun phrase to each one to give that extra bit of detail. So, just before you get going on that, here are the chili challenges for today. Chili 1, I want you to write 5 nouns and come up with 1 adjective to describe each one about what you could see around the river. Chili 2, you're going to do the same, but write an expanded noun phrase. And Chili 3, you're really going to think about using rich, up-leveled vocabulary to describe each of your nouns. So, pause the video now, write down the 5 things that you have seen around the river and add adjectives to describe them. When you've done that, come back to us, as we are then going to see what else we can see in the river. So, here's what I have written around my river. I've picked 5 things, 5 nouns that I saw: the frog, the orchid, the monkey, the parrot and the palm tree, and then I've added an expanded noun phrase to describe each one. So now we've done that, we need to get back in our boat and see what we can see on the river. I'll see you there in a second, everybody.
Now look on the river. What can you see floating on top? Over there I can see a log that looks like it's fallen down from the tree. It's quite rotten. Oh, and over there's a beautiful water lily. It's really giant and it smells really nice. Oh, over there I can see another boat. It's really quiet. I can't hear anything. Oh, and just landing on the water there is a dragonfly. It's just hovering on top of the water. Ah, and there's a beautiful kingfisher bird. I can hear it squawking.
So now we've had a think about what we can see on the river, I want you to add these 5 nouns to your plan. So if you've got one, choose a different colour. Don't worry if you haven't, you can just use the same colour. And what I want you to do is write these nouns on the river, just like you can see here. I have put fallen, rotting log on a different colour here. So remember those chilly challenges to add an adjective or an expanded noun phrase to your nouns too. Pause the video now and have a go at that. Here's my check page. I have put the nouns with the expanded noun phrases before them on the river just here. So these were all the things I saw on the river: the bird, the dragonfly, the boat, the water lily and the log. Now we're going to have a look at what we can see in the river. So you need to get back in your boat and look carefully deep inside.
Now look in the river. Look deep into the water, and what can you see? I can see a piranha fish showing its big teeth to me. It looks very dangerous. Oh, and over there, I can see a crocodile. Looks very ravenous. Oh, and jumping next to me is a pink dolphin. Looks very graceful. It's very beautiful. And over on the shallows at the side of the river is a big giant rat. I think that's called a capybara. Looks quite threatening. I'm a bit scared of that. Floating on top of the river here is the algae. It's a bit smelly.
Now we need to add those nouns that we have seen in the river to our plan. If you have one, get a different colour and you can use that colour to write them on. So here you can see that I have added the piranha in my river, as that's one of the fish that I saw deep inside. And I've added an expanded noun phrase to the noun to describe it, the dangerous ravenous piranha. So just like before, choose another 5 nouns, another 5 things that you saw in your river, and remembering the chilies, add an adjective or an expanded noun phrase to describe them and write them in the river. Pause the video now and do that. Then we'll come back together for a final check. So here's my final plan. In red, you can see that I have added the nouns and adjectives of the things I saw in the river. So now we've got a collection of nouns that we saw around the river, on the river and in the river, with some fantastic adjectives to describe them. Make sure you keep your plan, as we're going to be using it to help us write our poem throughout the rest of the week. I hope you enjoyed today's writing lesson, everybody, and had a fantastic trip down your river. See you all again soon. Goodbye.